everyone to the 8th plot. We're back. Me and Ben.
Hello.
And Scott.
Sup.
It's, as we discussed before, this is our first episode in the new year. Ben thought we had done another one, but he was wrong. So,
Ben was incorrect.
welcome to 2022.
Woohoo!
Not a good year so far, Scott.
It's just a bit long, isn't it?
We've literally been here like 13 days or something.
No, it's like
17
days. 17 days.
Is it 17 days already?
Yes.
It's gone by quick.
Maybe
It's not as long as I thought.
Actually,
Fine, maybe I'll give a woo!
there you go. It's not as bad.
Followed by it, which
But
I'm sure will
it's
follow
going
later
to
in the
be a
year.
bad year one way or the other. If the last 2 years were anything to go by.
Yeah.
It's a very low bar. 2022 is like the luckiest of the year.
Well,
What a low bar to clear.
Well, hasn't this got off to a great start already?
No, it hasn't, has it? But we'll see. Let's live in optimism.
Yes.
Glass half full.
You can live in optimism.
Yes,
You
not
can
half
live in
empty, that's the
optimism.
one.
I'll be realistic.
Excellent. Well, we're back in the new year for another What If episode, a return to form. And as you can probably tell, we're doing Spider-Man today, but specifically Toby Maguire's Spider-Man universe. That's Spider-Man 1, 2, and it was just called 3, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't given any stupid name. So that's fine. So that's what we're focusing on today. And I think I don't have to go through the rules of What If. You can go watch many of our episodes, especially the Iron Man episodes, where I detail all the rules that Scott and Ben have, because I'm going to throw them into that Spider-Man universe, and they're either going to do something good or bad with their time in it, with all the knowledge they possess. But you don't get Spider-Man powers from the get-go. You're not Peter Parker in this case. So, but who knows what you might think of later. Oh, indeed. And so I won't go through the rules, you know them by now, I'm sure. But Ben today will be the good. He'll be doing the good in this universe.
Yes, I will.
You finally got that right.
Yep, I got it right.
Yay.
I went through it 3 times with them before we started, so I would remember. Which is why Ben will be represented by Toby Maguire as Spider-Man in his good guy costume. I think that's appropriate. That's the good guy. Scott will be bad during this particular episode, so he's going to use his knowledge of the Spider-Man universe and the fact that I've cast him into it to do evil stuff, which is why he's going to be represented by evil Peter Parker from Spider-Man 3, or Emo.
God, that guy
Evil
is
and
such a
emo
bum.
Spider-Man from Spider-Man 3.
His attitude stinks.
I don't suppose, Scott, just for me and Ben, because the others won't see this, you could do this sort of shooting thing that Toby does. No, he's not doing
Far
that.
too cool for that.
This is what I mean, by the way. Okay, there you go. So
I've done it anyway.
I missed it.
You did it wrong.
I don't care.
Yeah, it's like
Honestly.
it's both sides like this, and he has to bend your knees and like do it to awful music, and people around you have to be disgusted.
I mean, you look at me with sheer disgust anyway. So.
That's why we can't show your face on this podcast.
Yeah, it would just be Scott like.
We need viewers, Scott. That's unfair. Scott's fine. I mean, I'm no spring.
I will quit, I swear.
I'm no spring chicken myself. You can't quit. You're not even hired.
I will resign.
You just turn up.
We will replace you just very easily.
You're irreplaceable. Scott.
Good luck trying to get this dynamic again then, lads.
That's true. I am worried about losing this dynamic.
Well, you should be.
It should be.
Me and Ben are irreplaceable.
They think that. Anyway. Yes, so that's that. But then there's me. I'm the guy who's going to try and pick as many holes as I can in what they're doing. Although, what was that? Was that a quack? I'm leaving that on there.
No, it's my ringtone. It's a squeeze that sounds like a fart.
Okay.
That's so
Can
mature.
you please put your what's it called? Sound off, please.
It is.
Thank you. Anyway, I will, as the overseer of all this who will criticise what they come up with, I used to be represented by something too. And I think in the Spider-Man universe, I don't know if you agree with me, maybe you have a different suggestion, but I think that Peter Parker's camera is the sort of overseer of this, because he's always seeing everything. He sees the normal stuff, and he's always taking pictures of Peter Parker as well. So that seems to be the lens from which you view Spider-Man. I don't know if you guys agree with me.
What about the ring announcer
The ring announce.
who also plays the bouncer in the theatre in the second one, and he also plays somebody in the third one. Sam Raimi's best friend. Who
Oh, I know what you mean.
he
Yes,
casts
he's the
him
one
in-
who that Peter Parker turns up at the theatre and he goes tie shoes and then he goes get lost. classic.
Yes.
Yes, maybe you're right because he's in all 3 films, isn't he? Other than the main characters, yeah, he's in everything. Who is he in the 3rd one though?
He's like a manager for the restaurant that he intends to propose at, and
Yes.
he keeps accidentally gesturing.
That
to
is
those
my
that call him
favourite
over.
scene in Spider-Man 3.
And
My favourite.
he's really happy, and he brings him over, and he's just like,
And he's like happy. He's done a terrible job. And no tip for him.
That is. I was watching it the other day in preparation for this, and it was just so funny. Just the whole scene was just like, no, get out of it, go.
They were really funny films as well. They had that Marvel before the MCU. They had that Marvel spark of humour. Like it sometimes at inappropriate moments, sometimes just on the side, and it was hilarious. So they got the balance right before ever since the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe came into play. So that was good.
well done, Sam Raimi.
So actually, now I guess that guy will take the place of the camera. That's a better choice. Well done, Ben.
Thank you.
So there you go. I think we're set. We're ready to go by virtue of a coin toss. I'll just do that now.
None of us called it.
I'm just deciding. It's you, Scott, because you spoke first, and you criticised my terrible coin toss that they didn't know about.
Which was actually a coaster.
Yes, I didn't have a coin, so I used the drinks coaster. Which is there we go. Thanks, Scott. You're going first.
You're welcome.
But before we do,
Okay.
you forget. We've got one more thing to do, and that's what do we think of this the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man universe as a whole?
Oh, I forgot about the segment of this podcast show thing.
I feel like you already asked that question,
We-
and we breezed over it.
We haven't.
No, we haven't. We haven't done it yet.
No, we've done that before.
We did it in our prep for this episode, Ben. Try and stay with the group.
Making so many incorrect errors today.
No, come on, we're doing it now. You're thinking of when we were discussing this
Oh,
before.
I apologise.
So now we're actually asking you for your review of these 3 films.
And now you've ruined it for the viewer.
We can cut it out, it's fine.
We will not cut it out.
They will never know. Yeah, I really like it. I think they are great movies. I will rewatch them most days.
every
No.
every other day.
No, I would happily rewatch them many a time.
So, to me, this makes me think of the other trilogy we did, Batman trilogy.
Yes.
Because in some ways, I rate the first one as being the second best one, the second one as being the best one, and the third one as being the worst one.
Yeah.
Out of those 3, just like I do with Batman, just like Scott does with Batman, I think. So the first film is fine. I get it. It's good. It's colourful. It gets the Green Goblin. My goodness, well done to William Dafoe for really almost doing a Joker-esque villain, but one that has a sort of unique.
Joker was even around.
Not
before he was around, but before
a very
Heath Ledger did.
Yeah, it's a very good representation of a Joker-esque, because I think the Green Goblin is Spider-Man's primary or recurring iconic villain. I think
It's his most dangerous villain because of how ruthless he is.
yes,
And it does sort of make not Green Goblin itself, but it does make a reappearance as such in the 3rd film with his son.
Yeah,
He makes a reappearance with Willem Dafoe at least makes a reappearance in all 3 movies as well. Actually,
That's true.
does he?
Yeah. Maybe he. He can be the Watcher.
Yeah,
No, he's bad.
because he's bad. Yeah, maybe I could do the one half of him that's good. Now I'm not doing that.
Just half his face.
It's like a Jekyll and Hyde sort of situation.
But it's just, I think, great villains. That's what makes number 1 really good, and it's a good origin. I think they capture his origin story really nicely. The second one I really like because I just like Doctor Octopus. It's weird. I find it weird that I like him because he's just an ordinary human being, but for some reason those tentacle arms are just really appealing, and they provided really good action. And I just think that one's the better one. And then the third one is...
I think it's the fact that Dr. Octopus isn't bad himself. It's the chip in the back of his neck that makes him.
Yeah, or the lack of a chip, sorry, I should say.
Honestly, Scott, get it right.
I'm sorry, Tobey Maguire is not my field of expertise here.
But the third one, it's like way too many villains. I don't like the fact that Harry's butler basically just watched as his young charge basically spiraled into a sort of madness and anger depression and thought, I could tell him that his father killed himself, but I'm going to let this stir for another 5 years.
I can't. I think Spider-Man 3 is is like the prime example of like studio meddling in the creation process, because originally it was only going to be Sandman, and then the producers told him to do Venom as well, and so,
yes, Sam Raimi didn't want to do Venom.
No.
He doesn't even like Venom as a villain.
No.
A villain, like in some ways, Venom did seem to have been done somewhat badly in it. I don't understand why they just didn't repeat the actual origin story of Venom in the comic books, but that was their choice, I guess. I don't understand how, if what you're saying is true, how Sandman was not the villain at the end. He was like misunderstood villain at the end of Spider-Man 3.
I mean, he yeah, but that's like the way that they did that with Doc Ock as well, though, didn't they?
Yeah.
He redeemed himself, and
that's true. Almost all three of them do, don't they?
And Willem Dafoe,
sort of like
he pretends to be Norman Osborn to make him drop his guard, to impale him in the back, but
when he gets impaled in the first spoiler alert spoiler alert
spoiler of Lord of the Rings,
he does, like, when he dies, he's not the Green Goblin, he's back to being Norman.
He's just like
and it like, it makes you feel sad that the villain died rather than joyful that the villain died.
I think spoiler alert just for all Spider-Man films in general, including...
Yeah, I should put that out there now.
Because there might be some inadvertent comments to some...
Such as, Willem Dafoe reappears in the latest Spider-Man film.
God.
Whoa, hold on.
Sorry, viewers.
It wasn't in a trailer or anything, but like still.
We knew. No, of course we did. The bomb bounces.
Yeah, he was in the trailer.
Yeah, he was in the trailer. Oh, he's in the film. I don't care who's spoiled by that. I gave you ample warning. So, yeah, that's my theory. That's my theory.
Sandman was just the most ineffective villain I think there's ever been in Spider-Man. He didn't even do much in... Spoiler alert again, when he showed up in No Way Home.
I mean, in fairness, like they couldn't have the actor on set, so you know that scene where, spoiler alert, where he...
We can stop doing that.
Spoiler alert just for everything for the rest of this
where
time.
That's it.
where they cure him and he reverts back to his human form. That's a scene from Spider-Man 3
because it was definitely CGI.
Yeah, they just reversed the sand effect.
Like, was he even in that film?
No.
Neither was a lizard, was he?
No, both of them.
Spoiler alert again, sorry.
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 Both of their scenes where they're cured were scenes from the previous movies.
So they didn't actually invite those actors back?
No, they did. They had them voice them. They had them voice them. It's just because of COVID they couldn't have and so they decided to go with the CGI characters that they could get away with CGI.
I was watching that film thinking, they just haven't got the same actors back and they're just reusing footage, and I thought that's a bit unfair to those actors. But it's good to know that they just had to reuse those things because of COVID.
Neither Lizard or Sandman made any effect to the film whatsoever.
Yeah, but neither of those villains are actually good.
Well, Lizardman also isn't in the Toby Maguire films. Or are you talking about?
I'm just talking.
Is it Far From Home? No Way Home. Yeah, the Sandman should have been fun to watch because I don't think I've ever seen a sand monster in a very recent super
No Way Home.
No, that's after the fact.
Rise of Guardians with Sandman and the Dream and stuff.
Yeah, but
what kind of movie is that? I've never seen it.
It's like the Avengers of fairy tale creatures. It's
a great film.
Isn't it?
I like the film.
Yes.
Isn't it with like Jack Frost and the Tooth Fairy and Santa
and the Easter Bunny? Which I'm pretty sure.
Although Jude Law's villain in that, I could appreciate.
Hugh Jackman was
the Easter Bunny.
Just this jacked Easter Bunny with an Aussie accent.
Fresh off Wolverine as well at that time. Tangent
control.
Thank you,
Spider-Man. Toby Maguire.
I don't know how the third one could have been perhaps better if it had just been Venom and no Sandman, or no Venom and just Sandman. And maybe. Like, I think in the comic books, the Sandman is actually much more like brutal, and you can hate him easier. Like, I think he's like a really bad guy, but in this one they set him up to be a sort of tragic villain, which they seem to all do.
Did that hurt?
No. I could have got away with that if it wasn't for these kids.
These meddling kids.
No, Scooby-Doo, we're not allowed to use
No,
that.
we're not. That's probably trademark.
No, it isn't.
I don't know, maybe. Yeah, but like it's. I think it's fine to have Harry in it as. I think he's more the hobgoblin with his skateboard glider thing.
He's the new goblin, isn't he?
He's actually my favourite best friend throughout the
Really?
Andrew Garfield.
I thought I was your favourite best friend.
In film.
You are my best friend, Ben. In fact, you are my favourite.
Why? That's interesting. Why would you call him? Why would you say that to him?
But he's just my favourite actor. I don't know. It's just there's something about him which I like.
He seems like
he plays off really well.
In it, I always feel sorry for Harry because, for one thing, his dad almost in front of him said, "Do you know, I prefer your friend to you."
No, he literally did, didn't he? He was like, he congratulated him on his science award.
Yes.
And meanwhile, Harry's in the background.
They both. They both
he's,
graduated. He gives his son a sort of tepid hug and goes, "Well, who would have thought you would have made it after all?"
Yeah.
And sidesteps him and goes to Peter and says, "Congratulations, other son. I wish I'd had."
I just think he has a really nice, just whole storyline compared to Ned, who has a sort of just you're my best friend sort of. But it's like just I could take you on.
Oh, Ned's a really good best friend.
He is. But it's just not my favourite.
He's fine.
But then in Andrew Garfield one, his best friend is just sort of just like
he doesn't have a best friend.
One of the things
he does.
Ned is like what I like about Ned is that he is. If I was friends with a superhero, I'd be insanely jealous and want like his life. But Ned just like I'm completely okay with
I'm the guy in the chair.
I'm just happy to be here, and I think. Everyone
should be aspired to be Ned.
The best friend is Ned. Like, because James Franco's portrayal as Harry Osborn is good. I agree with you there. But
meanwhile, Ned's just like the guy in the chair.
Yeah, no, he just gets in. He just goes in with it, and he's fine. And that's what every friend of every superhero should be like. Not like, because I bet some of them are like a little bit jealous. It's like Jimmy in Superman. He's like this weedy newsboy guy storms out, and he's like. I have friends with this Adonis, and no one knows who I am, and it must like. Batman doesn't have any friends.
Alfred.
Yes, it's Alfred.
No, but it's a working relationship.
But he runs that bar again, doesn't he? So.
Yeah, he's got the top bar of the butlers in superhero comics. I'm trying to think of another best friend. Is my point.
If you want to hear ideas about goons in the bar, go watch Batman. It's really funny. We laughed about it for like 15 minutes.
It was very fun.
Tangent control.
Tangent control. Back to Spider-Man.
But as a whole, I think just my read. But Toby Maguire is my favourite Spider-Man. I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's just the storyline for Andrew Garfield isn't good, but there's something about Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
So you like the actor Andrew Garfield,
but you don't like his films.
The films are good. They're not the best.
The films aren't good.
Let's
not lie to ourselves.
I don't think they're good. They're entertaining.
They're entertaining films.
They go off the rails in like the second half of the second half of the second film. It goes completely off the rails.
But I think this is a really big spoiler. I think Andrew Garfield is redeemed in No Way Home with that just half hour he had on screen time. It's just really I think he was redeemed by that.
I guess it speaks of those particular Spider-Man films. In the Tom Holland one, they kind of fixed them.
Yeah.
But even like Tobey Maguire didn't really need fixing. He just had a bad third act to some extent.
Yeah.
I mean, really. They deliberately didn't talk about what they talked about what Andrew Garfield did after his movies, but they didn't talk about Tobey Maguire because they didn't want.
Did he have a family?
No, they just said trying to do better, and we made it work.
Yeah, that's good for them.
It's like,
oh, indeed. But they did like they corrected. Yeah, they didn't correct them. They just gave them both a good send off in that film.
Yeah. But I think for me, I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man. But there's just something about it. It just feels too marvelly than Spider-Man, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay, I can get with that.
Because I think Tony Stark made an appearance in Homecoming, and he was non-stop mentioned in Far From Home.
I do want to say that I think it's a decent-ish trilogy. The third act is not great. It's like The Godfather 3 or The Return of this. Actually, all those Star Wars films were bad. But it's the best Spider-Man film you might shout at me is Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh yeah.
That I think
absolutely.
is the best Spider-Man film. You do need like you do need the other films to be there first, so that everyone understands who Spider-Man is. But just as a standalone film, I just love the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, so like,
if you said you can only
Nicholas-
have one Spider-Man film for the rest of your life, okay, I'll have to Into the Spider-Verse, please. That's the best one.
Across the Spider-Verse is coming out this year as well.
Yeah, just go watch the trailer if you
Isn't
love
there like
Spider-Man.
two parts?
That's brilliant.
to it?
Yeah,
That's great.
this
Like,
year and next year.
That
Yeah,
means
so
it's
it's
gonna,
like the Infinity
that's
War game
good.
sort
That's
of
like a trilogy of excellent. That will probably be excellent Spider-Man.
I've only
films.
seen Into the Spider-Verse once, so I'm not going to make a fair judgment or comment about it.
Watch it again.
Or
Let's
don't.
watch it now.
Sometime later. No.
We're commentating on it while we're watching it.
I guess it'll have to be a different episode. But so, do you agree with my summarization of the first Toby Maguire film, middle, like second place, the second one, first place, third one, third place in terms of overall quality?
Agreed.
One thing that those three Spider-Man films really mastered was making New York City into like actual people, and so like they made like the scene after Toby, like the bit where Toby Maguire, spoiler alert, in
Stop it! I'm getting really sick of this.
in the second movie where he's stopping the train.
Yes.
Or trying to stop the train, and you genuinely have a fear for the people's lives because
Yes.
you have met them throughout the course of the previous movie and that movie as well, and then like the bit where so like you've got all these characters that you've met through the movie, and like and they spend so much time with Peter Parker, like on his normal life, that it makes it so special and rewarding when he does save people.
Yes, there is a general. Unlike say Andrew Garfield, which seems to you only sort of get a sense of just the main characters. The Tobey Maguire one does sort of fill in the rest of the cast of Spider-Man and what's it called, the city, as you say, in itself.
The city seems to get more and more spiteful as the Spider-Mans. As we get more and more Spider-Mans.
I guess that's what we're. We said this in another podcast, I'm sure, not a podcast, well, episode about how New York is just like treated in films, and New York is the one where everyone attacks and destroys.
Yeah,
but for some reason, New York in the Spider-Man films is the one where everyone's a jerk. Like he drops it, like Tobey Maguire drops his papers, and everyone's just bashing into him, and he actually looks up and goes, "What's going on here? This is ridiculous." And he's right, and it's like, why do I bother rescuing this town?
But one thing, like in No Way Home, one thing that really bugged me about spoiler alert, Toby.
Stop it!
Ben, I'm gonna
shave your head if you do it again.
It's okay, Ben, I'll defend you.
About Tobey Maguire at the end. Sorry. Was when he got stabbed.
I thought for sure he was dead.
And
yeah, me too.
I was just really annoyed that they didn't kill him.
That's so dumb. I don't know if I want you in this video.
and that they played it off as a joke.
Yeah.
It's just like there was so much weight behind the stab. And then they played it off like it was just, it's just a flesh wound.
Yeah, that's a bit of
That
a
reminds me of that scene out of Monty Python.
It could have been
Holy
like...
Grail. When he gets his arm chopped
Oh,
off,
yeah.
it's like, "'Tis but a flesh wound."
Yeah, and it's just like, it annoys me that he couldn't have had like his...
It would have been a very emotional moment.
Yeah, it could have been like his...
But then the rest of the film is a massive gut punch to anyone who likes Tom Holland's Spider-Man. So.
Yeah, but it could have been like his final fight. It could have been like, he's finally finished and he can go see Uncle Ben and Aunt May now.
See, I don't like what he's saying, but I totally agree with what he's saying.
Okay. That's not a contradiction. Yeah.
Because I do think he should have died.
It's a good trilogy, I think. I think you can...
Which one?
The Tobey Maguire one. I think you can walk away going, that's a solid trilogy. Tom Holland's one is a good trilogy, is a good films, but it doesn't work as a trilogy, I don't think. Because there's no origin for Tom. It's just Civil War and then this first standalone film, and it's more an episodic film series. It's not a trilogy.
Homecoming was a bit weird as well because the timeline sort of got all mixed up between Age of Ultron and Civil War, and They were still moving out of Stark Tower, but they already moved out of Stark Tower.
The only thing I do think that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man should have done is actually sort of put him with MJ at the end. Like, one thing we forget with superheroes, we always think they're always dancing around each other for the entire, never do they get together. But it's like, in some sense, I'm pretty sure they're together in the comic books and they live a life. And it seems like, rather than always dancing around each other in every single film for almost the exact same reasons, they should have brought them together at the end properly, I think. That's why.
I mean, really, they brought them together at the end of number 2.
Then broke them up again.
No, they didn't really break them up.
Oh no, they broke them up halfway during number 3.
Yeah, and they had a solid relationship, roughly. They had a solid relationship for like the first half of the movie, but then like.
Then he became a jackass.
But
and Harry manipulated her to break up with him, and then he slaps her.
Yeah.
And then, but then like they do reconcile at the end.
Yes. This is perhaps a failing of comic books in general, is that MJ can't really play, like, she's always the damsel in distress in all. That's a massive criticism of these films. That she's the primary tension is that she's been kidnapped again and they're screaming on top of a building again, and it's
I'm
like,
fine with it. She's a great screamer. It's fine.
But you think it's like, by the third time she'd just be sitting there going, looking at her watch, going, "When's this going to be over? And I gotta get to work."
This again, get it over with quick.
But she's, I don't read a lot of Spider-Man comic books. But I don't know how she plays into the sort of role, because she's not getting kidnapped left, right, and centre in
every issue.
Comic,
and she's just like,
I mean,
"What do you want me to say? Spider-Man, help me! For goodness sake, get me a sandwich."
It's not like Lois and Clark in Superman.
No,
because Lois plays a very key role in being a great reporter and I guess assisting Superman in that case. But it's and I guess Catwoman and Batman never really get together. I think they were going to get married in a recent comic book storyline. But like, it's very weird in every film. That's the weird thing, and perhaps the ridiculous film. It's like Sam Raimi just copied and pasted this. Mary Jane gets kidnapped and put that back in the script because I don't want to bother typing out a different storyline for her or a way for her to impact the plot in a different way.
I'm fine with it, honestly. I mean,
that's one of the major criticisms.
Yeah.
I think. But going forward, superhero films have to do a lot more with the love interest while keeping them relevant.
Not interested in love stories.
I love love.
Just show me fight scenes. That's all I'm interested in.
I suppose. Right.
Okay.
I think it's time to get on with the primary reason we're here. Scott, we're starting with you.
Is that the reason we're here?
Yes.
So Scott, the third.
You're
The third.
Go.
You're doing evil I throw you into the Spider-Man universe. What did you do?
Oh, that's a good
Now
question.
remember, you can start at any point. There's no prologue, so you can just go. You're in.
That's
At the
true.
beginning, you can appear at any point, but the first point you must start off would be the beginning of the first film, which is what's the first scene of the first film?
It's going into the museum.
It's the field trip. Okay, good. There you go. That's the first bit.
field trip.
What do you do?
Oh, see now.
What's your plan?
So anyway, my plan is I'm gonna use some references from the third film, assuming it's already there in the first film, because it would take more than 5 years to build that centrifuge machine in the ground.
You mean the one that turns to Sandman?
Yeah.
You're okay. So I guess you'll go already. So.
Yeah.
That doesn't occur until the third
That's true.
film,
Then
so
I'll
that's
just
about
throw-
5 years afterwards. I guess.
Fine, then I'll just throw myself into the third film.
So you don't care what happens in the first and the
Not
second.
interested.
You're just going to appear in the third one. So what's going on?
My first goal is to make sure Flint is captured by the police. So at the start, I'm helping the police just to capture this bad guy, this murderer, who ultimately killed Uncle Ben.
Yeah, I guess you kind of did, but it was an accident.
It was an accident.
Well, you don't care.
What do
I
you mean
don't
so? What about forgiveness and redemption?
This doesn't exist in Spider-Man films. So
Actually, it exists for at least 3 characters.
Yeah.
don't quote me on that. But anyway, so I make sure Flint gets captured.
Do you know how you could do it? Because he goes to visit his daughter and his
Yes.
ex-wife.
You just go.
Well, no, but you know he disappears out the window and goes down the fire exit.
Lock
You would just
the
be waiting.
window.
Yeah, lock the window and he's like going and then the police turn up and then he's captured again.
FBI, pull up.
Because it's after that he runs for some reason runs across the field.
Yeah, or burn his green top, so he has to wear his orange jumpsuit.
How you gonna? But how you gonna get? Actually, where did he get that green top and khaki trousers?
He went into his apartment and got them out, and
you're right.
And he was taking bread as well.
But he would probably just take another set of clothes.
No, you burn them all.
So you break it. So when the ex-wife and the daughter are out, you break in, burn all his clothes, leave. She obviously doesn't check his drawers for the old clothes that he kept around. He then appears in his jumpsuit. I need to change your clothes, and there's just ash. There's just ash in his chest and drawers. Okay, so Ben,
my plan. It's Scott's.
You also know you could sneak into the flat by going up the fire escape because that window's unlocked. So I mean, Ben, it's a solid plan to prevent him from changing out of his orange jumpsuit, but it's.
My first goal was to ultimately get Flint captured by doing exactly Ben's plan.
So you're gonna burn his clothes?
Yes. Burn them all. So, but anyway, once that's happened, I run to the.
You could put glue on the fire escape, so when he starts climbing down it, he gets stuck.
It sounds like a Home Alone kind of thing.
I am influenced.
Referencing to our Previous Home Alone episode.
I think what I'm saying is there are plausible ways to take Flint out of the picture. Yeah, you can imagine it. Super glue down it, and he goes, I'm stuck.
But yeah, so I get Flint captured, but then I go to the military base for that second. I sneak into.
Considering the security must be terrible at that military base.
I mean, he just climbed over a fence and then fell in the hole.
I don't understand why he didn't see the hole.
No.
He wasn't looking.
But I know where the hole is anyway.
I suppose you look behind him at the moment he fell.
This isn't a relevant point to my plan.
Ah, dogs.
So what?
That was how it went. He was looking at the.
Oh, he was looking at the dogs and
they
he
were
fell
like,
in. And so you're going to. You could also be on. You could just be there, and as he's running, you just run up to him. Yeah, you shove him over. Goes, no, buddy, that way. And hey, buddy, hey, buddy, go that way. Massive hole. And he goes, thanks, man. And he runs off. And then you just jump into the hole.
Cannonball, because there's already sand in there.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
So I become Sandman.
So you'll be in there. They'll think it's just a bird. What is that thing supposed to do? What was that machine built for? Does anyone know?
It's testing sand.
Testing sand. Is this sand? We don't know.
Maybe it was to see if they could, I don't know.
Who knows? It was science MacGuffin machine.
Brilliant. So I become Sandman. Then I get my bearings.
Reform yourself.
Yeah, I get my bearings.
By the way.
Sorry, go for it.
My point was going to be, you have to make sure you're wearing good clothes before you fall in, because that's your clothes for the rest of the time. So your most stylish, comfortable clothes, and you fall
presumably it doesn't have to be comfortable because it would be in your body now. So
wait, are the clothes made of sand? Or
yeah, the clothes.
Is he turning from flesh to sand?
No,
he's always sand.
He's always sand, and he just puts a layer of clothes on his outside.
It's like somehow he can change the sand to match the colour of his.
Well, no, because he was wearing the clothes while he's in there, so I just assumed that would just become part of him.
Either that, or that was his fashion choice for the rest of the film. He just thought, I could give myself some really good stuff, but I love this. This top.
This Blue's Clues top.
Yeah, exactly.
But Blue's Clues, that's what I was thinking of.
My point was going to be that, do you have a locket or a necklace that you can.
Why do I need to look at
because the only way that he's able to control his power and wills himself to get up is seeing his daughter.
I know my goals. It's irrelevant point.
So do you know how
your glasses?
Your glasses.
As you reform, you put your glasses on that you don't need anymore, presumably.
Exactly. Well, I don't know.
Unless your sand body has the same sort of
weakness
in a sense, weaknesses as I apologise, Scott, that the former body does. So if you went in without an arm, you would reform with no arm. You'd have to reform a sand arm, or would it be the same? I don't know. I'm getting into it. So you're the Sandman.
I'm the Sandman. But nobody knows I'm the Sandman.
That's true. Bit. No one does.
So I can just walk around doing my daily life. Just as a normal person.
Tipping sand out of your ear.
Exactly.
Yes.
Whacking away. Where does all this sand come from? But I know where Peter Parker lives.
Do you?
Yes.
Do you? Yeah. How do you know where he lives?
Because...
Well, actually, you don't need to know.
In Spider-Man 2, we do see his...
so yeah, you could just know who Peter... You know Peter Parker, Spider-Man, so you just got to find him and go to the Daily Bugle and you'll see him once.
The photographer known as Peter Parker.
Why do you want to know who Peter Parker is?
because I'm going to use J. Jonah. What is his name? Jameson.
Honestly.
To my advantage.
How?
Because I'm going to catch Peter Parker, like in the act of being Spider-Man.
Okay, so you're going to take a photo this time, held up by sand.
Yes.
And
Well, no, I can still hold things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
of
but
course
like
you can.
presumably, like you're not going to be able to like.
Like his apartment's quite high. You have to fly up there with sand and be there with a camera, taking pictures of Spider-Man changing into his Spider-Man costume, and then you're going to sell those to the Daily Bugle.
Yeah, and then because the Daily Bugle thinks he's evil, so he's a menace. Spider-Man is a menace.
So you're just going to you're going to out Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man in this case, or Peter Parker as Spider-Man, and get some sort of reward. Yeah. You do know that J. Jonah Jameson is a real cheapskate.
He is.
So I think you should go somewhere else.
But nobody knows I'm Spider-Man. Not Spider-Man.
You're not Spider-Man.
Sandman.
But it doesn't matter.
So I'm going to go rob some banks.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
Because Spider-Man's not there to stop me.
Well, no, he would be. Everyone doesn't know who he is.
He's a menace.
It would be the same as No Way Home, basically. He's still Spider-Man.
People would love him.
Yeah, but Doctor Strange... Would they?
Yeah. Half that train that, rescued him would go, yeah,
that's
half by that. And pretty
everyone
much
was in love with Spider-Man at the end of Spider-Man 2.
And in the first one, the whole of New York came out for him.
Yeah, it's like,
on the
you mess with
Bridge.
one of us, you mess with all of us.
Exactly. So
that's I mean, if I think they're good or bad is.
In all honesty, as long as you stay away from water, Spider-Man can't get you.
But Spider-Man. You said Superman.
I said that first and I corrected myself.
He did correct himself.
Did he?
Yeah.
I
thought so.
I tuned out.
There's too many man in superheroes. It's very hard.
But yeah. While Peter Parker is trying to sort all this stuff out,
okay, you're
I go rob some banks.
Yeah. As long as you don't show your face, they will think it's just some sand guy.
Exactly.
And it's got nothing to do with that guy. It's got sand.
But then, because I know, assuming that he's still...
There's just a trail of sand.
Yes. Make sure you don't do that.
because assuming that Venom is still a thing, I go still, while he's dealing with that, I rob some banks and I go back to his apartment and steal the Venom suit so he doesn't get the chance to become Venom. Which ultimately is Sandman's downfall.
Yes. As long as you're near water.
I beg your pardon. So you're going to be Venom and Sandman.
I didn't say Venom.
So you're going to steal the suit.
How are you going to steal it?
Got, in fact, by the end of in midway by
I become Venom Sandman.
But yeah, okay. And now you're really.
How does that work? I mean, presumably
it's a comic book film, but it doesn't need to be logical.
Presumably, the symbiote could cover every grain of sand.
Yeah, but the symbiote wouldn't be able to turn into sand, so he wouldn't be able to fly around.
No, but so, within the goo.
So, what happens when you get punched? Do you take the punch, or
you'd get both?
Or does it go straight through you?
It would go straight through like sand, but the symbiote would just reform around it.
Yeah, but that's not. This is so confusing for my head.
In a sense, it would just be the Sandman covered with black goo all the time.
In fact, no, it doesn't. It's a relevant point.
It'd be very powerful.
If I just steal the suit, then nothing's going to happen to it. It's in the briefcase. He can't get me.
So you stuff the Venom suit into a glass jar with a cork on the top of it, and that's the symbiote out of the way.
Venom sorted.
Give it to a scientist to look at and done.
Put a rock in the bottom of the glass and put it in the sea.
What I do
then it'll get out one day,
I give it,
and then you got a whale Venom, which presumably would be amazing actually. And actually now I want a series of films or a series of videos of
Venom.
No, but Spider-Man does that. He finally chucks Venom into the sea, and he thinks, job done. And then we get a series of
massive whale.
A series of episodes of the Venom symbiote getting out of the glass jar. First, it meets a sea cucumber, and it's like a sea cucumber Venom tearing its way around, and eventually the symbiote gets bored of that and goes to
a seahorse,
a sea Venom horse, and then a sea angular fish or a Venom angular fish Venom, and then eventually the whale. And then a whaling ship is going for this whale, and then suddenly this Venom whale comes out and just eats the ship, and that's what I want. And forget all these cutscenes at the end of Spider-Man films. Just do a little short video of that, and I would be happy.
Like one of those old Pixar films.
Yes.
At the start, a Venom thing.
Venom's trail destruction across the sea floor. Crab Venom. It's amazing. There's so many ways you can do it.
But then I have the perfect disguise.
What's your perfect disguise?
I become a beach. And nobody will ever be able to find me.
I suppose all your treasure is buried under you, and you're just on the beach. But what? You've got all this money. What are you gonna do with it?
What happens if parents bring their kids to you, and they
On the
like
beach.
start shoveling you.
It's like, ow,
With-
ow. Does it hurt?
It's just
He
like,
doesn't seem.
ow!
No, he doesn't get hurt.
And then this massive head just pops out. It's like,
What are you doing?
I'm-
You should enter sandcastle building competitions.
Yes.
If you were Sandman, you would, wouldn't you? And it's like, yes! Wow, how did you build this? And how's it staying together? Never you mind.
how does the door open?
Why is it wearing these trousers and this green and orange and yellow
I
striped
invest
shirt?
it. I invest all this money in Howie, and I give the Venom suit to Howie, so it becomes evil Howie again.
You're just messing around with Peter Parker now.
It's
You
fun.
could invest.
Dance, monkey, dance.
You could actually invest in Oscorp. If you would become its sort of second shareholder, largest shareholder, then once Harry dies, which he does, then there's no owner of Oscorp, and you could be the owner.
I become.
Now you're.
No, because the board of directors.
If
ahead
he's the
of-
single biggest shareholder, he has a good say in who becomes CEO next, and it could be you. But I don't know what you would do with a multinational company. Keep stealing and adding the money that
I
way.
use
Make
my
bigger beaches.
Cover the world in sand, so then I control the world.
Yes.
You could restart that fusion project that Dr. Octopus did. Because the only problem with that fusion thing was doing it in a metal building in the middle of a city.
Or
I
the
think.
fact that it's a sun, and he creates something with its own magnetic pull.
Yeah, that's why metal isn't a great idea to keep around it.
Anything isn't a good idea to have around there.
A small miniature
It's
sun.
it's a sun.
But then he thinks, I'll just build it bigger.
how does like
I like your plan, by the way. That's
I
what I
mean,
said.
that's all.
Yeah.
That's all I've got really. So
yeah, that was really good.
It works. I like the idea of stopping.
Venom Sandman.
Venom Sandman. What else could? And then you could nick Harry's flying skateboard thing, so then you can fly
It's
around.
like a sand venom thing.
Flying around New York. Sand for you. Sand for you.
yes.
Kind of like the Grinch. It's like, jury duty, jury duty.
That's my plan.
I like it. Just the accumulation of all the powers.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe you could take out Eddie Brock somehow. You know, the guy who becomes Venom in that film. Just get him out of the way.
Well, no, because I've been employed as the Peter Parker or the Spider-Man photographer now.
But going back to that point, you should not go to J. Jonah Jameson and say it to him. Go to a more reputable news, like the New York Times, which I'm sure exists in this universe. They pay more for it than J. Jonah Jameson.
I'm sure J. Drummond, or should I say JJ,
JJ.
has enough influence on New York to convince New York that Spider-Man really is a menace.
Just going back to I love the fact that J.K. Simmons just plays.
Oh yeah.
He's like monopolised the whole thing,
Yeah.
other than in the Amazing Spider-Man.
You know, he was going to be in the Amazing Spider-Man,
Ah.
but they cut the scene.
Oh, that's a shame. But I like the fact they brought him back and he's keep going. It's so stupid. So well done, Scott. I think you've successfully done it, and I can't really see a hole in it.
I was just going to say, if
Don't.
Although, how do you know where Clint lives in order to ambush him? Clint.
This isn't Hawkeye.
Yeah, sorry. It's all in New York. I don't like. Where else am I supposed to go?
I don't need to know where he lives. I'll just shove him over. Go,
You just need
buddy.
to know where the military base is. Okay. Or test.
Follow the sirens.
Follow the sirens. You can just always jump in after him. Although, would that be a problem?
After him,
Would that-
yeah, two people.
But he falls in accidentally, and he's like, "Oh no, I'm in here!" And suddenly, my next Scott, "Hi mate, what are you doing in here?" It's dark, isn't it? I was out jogging. But then, would you become a hybrid Sandman, or would you be? That's no, don't be in there.
Find my family. No, rob some banks. And find my family.
Yeah. like a Jekyll and Hyde situation, but
Exactly.
both manifesting at the same time. Okay, Ben, over to you. You're a good guy. What are you gonna do?
How am I supposed to follow that?
Try.
So I'm going to jump in at the roughly the same point as Scott.
Skip the first two films.
Yeah.
You don't care. You're not going to save those people that the Green Goblin kills.
You don't kill anyone.
Yeah, he does. He blows up the
Oh yeah,
the
he
thing,
kills
and,
the board of directors.
and they
doesn't
just
he?
vaporise into skeletons, which is a very strange device that you never really reused.
Yeah, it's like.
That's why I never
the-
liked that. I
the-
didn't like that at all.
The board of directors in New York are surely
he-
corrupt in some way.
Yeah, he uses that bomb, and then
Oh,
and then like 2 scenes later, Spider-Man and him are in the burning building, and he throws some like flying bombs instead of using the exact same thing.
Yeah.
That would have killed Spider-Man.
Yeah, that radiation bomb thing would have killed him. Yeah,
Yeah.
alright. But there we go. But you're
Oh.
just going to let those people die.
Yeah.
Even though you're the good guy. Could you spend some time saving them before you get to your plan?
The Green Goblin.
Okay, fine, I will. So what I'm gonna do is I am.
Stop the Green Goblin somehow.
Yes, I'm going to. I'm going to become a scientist.
You don't have... No, hang on. You enter the universe as he's going to the museum, and it's about a day later that Osborn injects himself with the thing and becomes a Green Goblin.
Okay. No, it's the same time, isn't it?
It's the same day.
It's the same night.
But it's so there's the museum bit, which is the beginning of the film, and then you have probably at midnight that day he becomes Green Goblin. You don't have time to become a scientist and work your way into Osborn.
Fine.
What you should do is you should find a board with incorrect mistakes on it, because you know the incorrect mistakes. Just go, this is incorrect. It works now. You're a genius.
Can you do that, then?
No, because how am I able to... I can't get into the military base without being either a scientist or a military personnel.
And you can't get into Oscorp. You're just gonna... Unfortunately, you can't stop the Green Goblin from being the Green Goblin.
I'm going to get, like... I'm going to go to the school, and I'm going to get loads of, like, signatures to have a field trip to go to Oscorp.
Okay.
So you're going to pose as a student at the school, and in one day get a field trip organised to go to
Absolutely.
Oscorp.
You're already at Oscorp.
Or...
No. You're thinking of the Amazing Spider-Man again.
Of course I am.
Or what I'm going to do is I'm going... So I know what Norman Osborn's car is.
Yes.
I'm just going to tail his car.
Yes.
And then...
We'll rent him.
Yeah, send him into the hospital for one night. That probably solves the problem.
Yeah, okay. I'll send him to hospital. I will...
You'll crash his car. He won't do the thing. He won't do the experiment that turns him into the Green Goblin.
He won't know that he has to go back to formula, was it?
Back to formula. Smash.
Fair!
Call back to an earlier episode. That will make no sense if you're coming into this thing now. Okay. Maybe that will work, Scott.
Yeah.
Ben, sorry.
Dare you?
Yeah, sorry. And number 2, no one really dies in number 2.
No.
Except for
Norman,
for his wife. But you could solve...
I'm gonna come along as like...
There's a few years for you to ingratiate yourself in Dr. Octavius' life.
I'm gonna be like...
And maybe
I'm gonna come along and I'm gonna be like, hey, you know, this is a sun, and you know, maybe instead of having like everybody like 2 meters away from it,
yes,
let's all go stand on a different building far away.
And you could spend like years like saying, I like your idea, but this is exploding star, right? Yeah, you go, yeah. And would there be a lot of magnetism? Yeah. Isn't there a lot of metal stuff in New York? And you go, oh, yeah. So maybe you should go do this in the desert.
Desert. And then Scott gets sucked up with the sand. I saved the world from the beach.
The Venom flying goblin Sandman thing we created.
Well, this is a revelation. We've never integrated each other's plans
Yeah,
before.
we haven't, but I can see Ben like scuppering your plans. But there we go. They do that, and then nothing. And presumably it will work, and fusion will kick off.
Yeah.
Kick off. Start
then
rocket.
Stable energy for the entire world from the desert.
Bad. Maybe you could also hint that maybe you should have 2 sets of these arms, so it's not just you looking after this ball of fire for forever. Have someone else to stand in.
Or make them removable. Make them removable.
Also, perhaps some sort of electrical thing for that chip, so it doesn't get fried by a massive dose of electricity.
What you should do? You should call a massive power outing when Dr. Octopus is about to just.
No, so
and here we go.
But then they'll just do it the next day. You need to.
No, my tritium is gone.
Oh yeah, but Harry can get more.
Yeah, but is he gonna get him?
I think you just got to set it up that it works. Put it in a desert somewhere. There's no metal, and just do the inhibitor chip a bit better than just that, and maybe put a circuit breaker, and that will solve all number 2's problem. Okay, so now we're in number 3. Where was your original plan?
Finally. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wait around. So I don't believe anybody dies or anything. So I don't believe anybody gets hurt in like the start of it or anything.
No one really gets hurt in number 3. No, I don't think so. No one die? There must be the occasional person in the background.
They're all just mentally scarred.
They're just all mentally scarred. But Venom doesn't kill anyone. I don't think anyone dies in number 3 at all, except for Eddie Brock, played by Topher Grace, I think it is. Yeah, that's... Oh, and Harry. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
So I don't really want Sandman to happen. So I'm gonna do exactly what Scott did, not jump in after him.
Can you think of a other than burning his clothes and glue on the fire escape? Is there and shoving him out the way? Is there another way to take him out of the picture?
Yes. I
Explain.
I tell the police, maybe this Flint guy is gonna go to his home.
Yes.
And maybe you should check there.
And when you do pull up, turn off your sirens so he
Yeah.
doesn't know that you're there.
And so he doesn't run away, maybe through the fire escape.
Yes. If you find glue on the fire escape, don't ask any questions. Okay.
These sirens are such pointless things. Woo, woo, I'm coming!
Yeah, it doesn't make sense when it makes sense if you're trying to get through something for an emergency, but if you're trying to apprehend someone who it's a dead giveaway that you're
Oh, the police are over there. I'll go this way then.
Exactly. Okay, that works, Ben. So there you go. You saved Flint.
And he goes back to prison or something. Yeah, and now I'm gonna wait till Spider-Man tries to get rid of the symbiote.
Okay.
And
oh my, I think I see where this is going. Do you want to be the symbiote?
Yeah. So I'm going to
push Eddie Brock out the way.
I'm going to come up to Eddie Brock while he's praying.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, "That's not a great prayer."
That's a vicious prayer.
Yeah, that's not actually. I'm pretty sure Jesus isn't okay with this.
Yeah. Maybe go home, have a sleep.
Yeah.
Maybe have a bagel or something.
Bagel. A New York bagel.
Yeah, go down there.
Get him out of there, okay?
Yeah. And I'm gonna be like, haha.
You're just gonna open your hands to this evil alien symbiote.
I'm not gonna open my mouth though, because I don't want a massive.
I think that happened. You can't stop that. As soon as the symbiote covers you, you're Venom now.
All right, fine. So I now have the Venom symbiote.
Yes.
And I would say my will is stronger than Eddie Brock's, and I'm a relatively good-natured person.
That's a relevant point.
No, because it accents the hostility of the person and
Peter Parker went bad, and he was a good soul.
Yeah, but he's
became a
arrogant and he.
So you think you can? Well, I suppose it doesn't. You know how to defeat the Venom symbiote.
Yeah, it's
anyway. So if it goes too far,
I will ring this bell.
Calm yourself. Ding, 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 ding.
At the very worst, you'll be like Venom in the Venom series, who is an anti-hero.
Yeah.
That'd be fine.
And so now I am basically Spider-Man, stronger.
Stronger.
And
I swear I will go to church because all the bells.
Yeah. Oh right, yes.
Sorry,
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I will go to the bell tower.
Every time you annoy me. Okay, yeah, well, it works.
And I'm gonna go up to Spider-Man and I'm gonna be like, "Hi,
I got that evil suit you got rid of.
I'm here to help you out." and
okay.
and boom, there's two Spider-Men in New York.
Roughly, yeah, and you can work together. Because I think Venom is more of a hero in the comic books now, so there's precedent for your. So you want to be Venom essentially, or the powers of Venom.
Yeah.
Okay. And you could do good with that, presumably.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
I'm not sure I like it.
Do you know what I'm surprised none of you ever thought of doing?
What?
Because of the nature of the Spider-Man universe, you could have just followed. You probably could have attached yourself to the school party and said, "Can I take a look at these spiders?" And
you said last week we couldn't become a Spider-Man.
Yeah,
did I?
Yeah, you did. You said we couldn't push Peter out of the way to get bitten.
Oh, okay. I apologise.
Because that was my idea.
Okay, don't push him aside. Just go there the next day.
That would have been both of our ideas.
The next day.
But you said when we were discussing this, oh no, you can't become Spider-Man.
Okay. I apologise. I retract that statement.
Good.
Well done for sticking to the rules.
This changes my whole plan.
No, you can't. No, sorry, you're right. Your plan. Yes, you can't become Spider-Man.
I called for a vote with no confidence in Mark's leadership.
Yes. Replace him with me.
Fine.
I call for a no confidence in Ben.
I'm not going to second that. You don't have to vote to back yourself up.
You guys are fired.
Upstairs Studios takes over the 8th block. My plan was successful.
And now I just imagine the 8th plot banners just being taken over by the upstairs banners, and then my YouTube channel just gets over the red thing is now an upstairs studios, And I have to show all your videos.
You
yeah?
need to make sure you have the
What a
vote to back
takeover.
yourself
This is like
up.
the Star Wars episode. You're like Palpatine, and I'm the Republic, and you're Darth Vader in this analogy, Scott, helping him take over.
You need to make sure you have the votes to back yourself up
I
before you
do.
start calling votes no confidence.
I now need to bring 3 more people into this group who are loyal to me to get me back.
What we need to make sure, we need to Ben needs to have a boozy party, number 10, while the lockdown is still in place. Then I will call for the vote no
No, but
confidence.
he was doing what Boris is doing now and throw everyone else under the bus.
That's true.
Anyway, that was a good tangent.
That was a political good.
That was a good tangent for and topical.
We
as
don't
well.
usually
We don't usually get topical on this show.
No.
Okay, well done, Ben. I would say that you achieved something
Thank
quite
you.
spectacular.
Wait, you're not leading here anymore.
Yeah.
Can I have it
Let's
back?
switch
please?
seats.
You don't want to
Tell
sit.
you what,
You don't want to sit on a
you
stool.
can be the host for this episode.
And all subsequent episodes.
I will host next episode.
Okay, I accept this. Before we finish today's episode, I do want to talk about an idea I had. One of the I couldn't think of, like, you know, the what if question, because it's all about what if questions. This whole series of 8 plot videos is what if a guy got bitten by a spider and then obviously became a superhero from the powers he got. So I think I've come up with a great new superhero team. And the idea is based kind of on the same idea, but not spiders. So a bunch of people all get bitten by radioactive animals and get their powers. So they don't turn into the animals. They don't get the features.
Other boozy parties are available. Sorry.
You just have to get that in.
Sorry. I thought of it just now.
You could have waited until I finished and said other animals are available. But no, you just have to say other boozy parties are available.
Because it was political. I thought of it just now. And he's had so many.
That's the worst one you've ever done.
It was so late and it was so delayed.
But it's still funny.
Oh,
Well done,
it's
Scott.
just
Well done
too
for getting it in. I salute your getting it in. Anyway, back to what I was talking about.
Sorry.
So
What were you talking
so
about?
a superhero team where all of them got their powers from being bitten by radioactive other animals. So they don't turn into those animals, but they just get their powers. So what I was thinking, we need to build this superhero team. And I think you'd have to be hilarious with it in some sense. What animals could have been made radioactive that then bit people and then gave them their powers?
What do you think, Scott?
Hummingbird. They're quick. And I'm pretty sure their heartbeat's like 200 miles an hour. So not 200 miles.
It's like all humans would just.
But remember, well, no, because the power
No,
would increase
yeah.
the size. Well, the ability
The
of their
size
heart.
of the heart.
Yeah.
It's just
But they wouldn't grow wings
That's
because
true.
Spiderman did, but presumably flapping their arms really quickly with wings on them. They built wings under it,
Yeah,
and
like-
the humans just
like,
stop with.
when they're fighting, they just go.
Oh yeah, he'd be really quick, wouldn't he? Yeah. And a long tongue, because I think hummingbirds have a very long tongue,
Yeah.
and basically eating. He spends a lot of time around flowers. He
Yeah.
becomes a florist, and that's where he gets all his food from.
Yeah,
Someone walks into the
yeah,
shop, he's got his
that's
face buried in the orchids.
Toby Maguire doesn't eat insects
Oh,
and,
that's
and
true.
flies. He doesn't just pluck them out of the air.
But that's his secret identity. He works as a florist.
Yeah, because I'm sure. I think, eating eating flies would be socially unacceptable for Peter Parker. But, eating nectar from a plant, presumably, isn't. I don't know.
It's just like.
So that's one, hummingbird man. I would go, I think it'd be very funny if it was like a honey badger.
They're aggressive animals.
They're very aggressive, like in a sense very sharp claws, so presumably, although they wouldn't look like a honey badger, but they would get like some durable nails, shall I say. Also, honey badgers have this thing where they can rotate 180 degrees inside their own skin. So if you grab them, they can sort of twist around really easy. Their skin is very loose on their body. So
Loosey
imagine a
goosey.
human who is just immune to that. People grab him and he just twists around. There's a bear hug, he twists around and faces them. Maybe he gets a white streak in his hair as well.
Cool.
And just phenomenally aggressive person as well. Honey Badger Man. That's the worst superhero name, I'm sure.
Honey Man Badger.
Honey Man Badger. Ben, can you think of it out? I know you said whale.
No, I said whale.
You said whale. That would have been funny.
I was going to say afterwards.
Okay, we'll do it in a minute.
Koala Man.
Cool.
What a pointless creature.
It's
A
like
good climber.
yeah, really good at attaching to things and a really hard nose.
You know what? They have really hard noses.
Well, like they've got like that nose that's like this.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's quite bulbous, yes.
Yeah,
Just goes
and
on
like
painting.
I think it's like the same material as their claws, and they're quite.
Easy to he's in his costume as Koala Man. People just had to go. He's obviously got the powers of the koala. Let's just look up who's bought 20 tons of eucalyptus leaves recently.
You could just take him out with a forest fire.
It is. Well, it depends on where he's fighting.
In Australia.
Now, who do I know that really likes piggybacks?
Yeah, you love piggybacks for. Okay, so Koala Man, no, Koala Man.
Yeah. Oh, I just had one. Oh.
An octopus would be a good one. Oh, well, no, I suppose that's Doc Ock, so I can't do that one. What was your
squirting ink at somebody?
Oh yeah, so yeah, Dr. Octopus. He only does it because he's 8 limbs. But if a radioactive octopus
Squid.
bit you, or radioactive squid, there we go, and then you can escape danger by squirting ink at the enemies.
Just see you later.
He runs away a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, but he wouldn't have tentacles because we've been over this. You can't. They
That's
don't
true.
change into them. But squids can change colour, so you get the ability to change colour, and they can even change their body shape as well. So
I would
Sorry.
go for it.
A drop bear.
a what bear?
A drop bear.
What's a drop bear?
Like,
Oh, look a bear. Oh, sorry, I dropped him.
No,
That's a slippery koala bear. You're
They
thinking of.
literally
I'm trying to pick this koala up, but it's so slippery.
Oh, look, a cute koala.
The slippery koala there.
No, a drop bear is something in Australia where they like drop from trees onto like their prey.
That's their hunting method.
Sounds brilliant.
Sorry, I'm imagining something really silly that the bear's just hanging by the branch. A little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, and let go!
It sounds like a Yogi Bear.
How big is this bear? Is it massive?
Picking up baskets.
Like maybe like
Koala size?
yeah, quite.
Oh, right, so the wrong animal. If he lands on the wrong animal, it doesn't do any damage at all.
A radioactive Yogi Bear.
So that's a small bear. Bear man.
But I just love Yogi Bear.
Good sense of smell, that's the only thing. And an ability to tie a tie perfectly every time.
But when he said drop bear, I just thought of Yogi Bear.
Okay.
And him sitting there picking up baskets.
Any other animals, guys?
A humpback whale.
A what
A
whale?
humpback whale.
That's the first time anyone's mentioned a whale on this episode.
No,
so
it's not. You said it 2 minutes ago.
I was trying to give you back your bit, but never mind. So a whale, a radioactive whale, bites someone. And it's a humpback whale.
But then
What are their powers?
he has a really powerful slap.
Every villain defeated by a slap.
Yeah.
And he gets respect with a backhanded slap. Also a blowhole.
Yeah.
Is the blowhole on his head or is it on his back?
You
His
don't
head.
become the creature.
It's on his head.
Yeah, so
You
it's
don't
like,
become the creature, you just get his powers.
I know, but like a humpback whale man.
If he gets a blowhole, I get
Does
wings.
he get a hump?
Humpback whales don't have humps, they're just called humpback whales. I know, maybe they do. Well, then all whales have humpbacks. So
None of us has done a science degree of any kind, so
Don't
we
think
don't
so,
know.
no.
I love humpback whales. They're my favourite sort of whale.
I suppose you'd be able to go to stunning depths underwater and swim quite well.
That's true.
hyena man. And like,
Constantly laughing.
yeah, constantly like laughing. It's deafening.
Deafening spotted pattern on this now. Cassowary man? Cassowary. Although they don't have any powers other than being perpetually angry. And presumably stupid. They can, yeah, they don't.
But I'm just perpetually angry anyway.
I think, yeah. You've already been bitten by a radioactive cassowary. We need to think of an animal which gives power, whose power abilities would be transferable, like chameleon. So
A sheep.
the powers of a sheep, please, Scott. List them. I suppose you become covered in a sort of matte fur, and you can constantly make war.
I shave myself for profit.
Constantly shearing yourself once a year.
That's real.
Then using your pelt to make balls of yarn for a very select
You'd
clientele.
never have to wear a coat or clothes
That's
ever
true.
again.
You wouldn't, yeah, just let it grow.
A mountain goat. I can
Good
jump.
climber.
You see,
Plus a very
they're the
hard
most
skull.
suicidal animal I've ever seen in my life.
I
Mountain goats are just whee!
I do like the pictures of, like, there's one of them. There's just these look like sheep just on this wall. When they turn it around and it's like a dam, and the goat is literally going across a wall that's almost sheer 90 degrees. So you'd be a good climber if you got bitten by a mountain goat, and a hard skull, so you'd attack all your enemies with headbutting. So that was my idea. That rather you can't do the Spider-Man thing differently because it's been done, and will be continue to be done for the rest of time until the Earth explodes under the weight of the sun. They'll be remaking Spider-Man films to the end of time. But why not just a brand new range of superheroes who got other powers from being bitten by animals?
Because it's not as interesting.
Thank you for that review.
Spider-Man was actually one of Stan Lee's not worst comments, but not what am I trying to say? Nobody actually liked Spider-Man when Stan Lee came up with the idea.
So he was trying to make a superhero based on the animal no one would really like.
Yeah, exactly.
And see if he can make it.
He basically made him as the everyman, with a costume that would cover up his entire skin, so anybody could project themselves onto him. And he was the struggles through life person. And
I will say this as we're coming to a close. Spider-Man, I think, is the superhero who gets most of maybe he's not, but I think he's one of the worst possible things happen to him constantly, and he still just soldiers on. Like, I don't think any superhero just has to go through the amount of nonsense that he just goes through all the
I
time.
guess that's reflected in No Way Home, isn't it?
Like, he knows, I think 3 billionaires, and it's like, enjoying your New York loft apartment,
apartment
with one guy who's constantly on about you for rent, and it's like,
Spider-Man, give me your money.
I'm going to put it up now. There's this great bit where Spider-Man, in one of the comic books, where Spider-Man's like, I think Iron Man, so do you want to join the team? And then Spider-Man's like, I don't know. And then Tony Stark goes, we've got money. And then and Spider-Man goes, oh, thank goodness, and just hugs Tony Stark. And I think that's fair, because Superman gets help from Batman. The only reason Superman can afford he does. He works. He doesn't work for him, but Superman and Lois have an excellent apartment thanks to the fact that whole tenement building is owned by Wayne Industries. Yeah, and I
Metropolis.
Think, like DC, I don't think there's a single DC comic hero who worries about money. Any of the main ones, anyway. They're either all billionaires, or they just don't need money, or they've got a fortress of solitude somewhere, or they've got a whole island of just beautiful women that they can go back to all the time. It's paradise. So, but in the Marvel universe, Spider-Man, perhaps one of the perhaps the flagship character of Marvel, instantly recognisable for everyone, and the only one that Sony wanted to keep when they sold all their rights to Disney. He's the one who gets no, you're going to remain this guy constantly,
Just speaking of money, that reminds me of that Spider-Man meme where Tony Stark was like, oh yeah, can you buy me your Netflix account or Netflix on my birthday? It's like, sure, I've bought you. What did you buy me? Netflix. Just the entire company. What did you want? I wanted a Netflix account. Oh, I bought you Netflix.
Yeah, and
that's it. That might be the only version where a billionaire treats Spider-Man right.
Yeah, in DC, with the majority of superheroes being billionaires, it's all the villains are just like, who's this new hero? Oh, there's a new billionaire in town. I wonder who it is.
Could be him.
Let's see. Yeah, there's just too many billionaires and superheroes. But that's why I think Spider-Man is so much beloved, because he's just usually a kid who just goes through the worst kind of stuff. Like his uncle, his aunt, trouble keeping his girlfriend, and losing a girlfriend, of course, if you follow the Gwen Stacy storyline, and everyone forgets about him. And he's got this newscaster guy who's like the Fox News equivalent in the DC in the Marvel universe, constantly trying to take him down. So it's not great life, but that's why I think we respect Spider-Man. And I think it's time to draw this episode to a close. But as usual, Ben, you have anything to plug?
My YouTube channel, Upstairs Studios. We recently passed 200 subscribers. Thank you. And yeah, it'll be
well done.
It'll be great if we could get more and give more to the 8th plot, which I now own.
Yeah, share the wealth, Ben.
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, go see Upstairs Studios if you like stop motion. It's hilarious and it's good fun. And more videos on the way, of course.
I believe so.
And I guess for me, Scott usually does this for me.
I mean, I have nothing in the public domain, so you can do it this way.
Okay.
I'll let you keep your money this
obviously, please like and subscribe to the 8th plot. And if you like books and like reading books, then I've got
I
some
highly
books.
recommend a book series called the Gone series. It's very good.
No. Well, it's a good book series, but I would like you.
You don't own this channel anymore.
Ben, can I plug my books, please?
Yes, I give you finish.
Stolen Futures series, third book in the series, released tail end of last year. Half Human as well, please, and then if you like a children's book series, Alien Hunter, Connor Jones as well.
Not sponsored by the Gone series. I should just put that out there.
We are definitely not. I don't know how much the author would appreciate that.
Who is
Oh,
that?
actually, Michael Grant.
Michael Gone.
Grant.
Oh, I was going to say, if he named the series after himself, then like...
No, the series is aptly named.
Okay.
So if you're willing to sponsor us, do get in touch.
Yeah, please do. He follows me on Twitter.
Does he?
Yeah, he does.
Get him to sponsor us.
Sorry?
Get him to sponsor us.
I will put not sponsored by the Con series in the tweet that goes out with this, and see what he goes. What the heck?
You should tweet him and ask him if he wants to sponsor us, and then put his reply at the end of the video.
I don't know if I want to bother him. I don't want to lose him. He's the only famous Twitter follower I have. Anyway, we'll end it there. Thanks, guys. Great episode for the new 2022 Spider-Man. And yeah, go watch our other videos. Comment if you have your own ideas about what you would do if you were cast. We will read them. We will
and then ignore them.
Ignore them. Unless they're rude. If they're rude, we will ignore them. But if they're not, and they suggest other ideas for what you could do in the Spider-Man universe, we will read them. And maybe bring them up in a later episode. A filler episode. And anyway, goodbye, Ben.
Goodbye, Mark.
Goodbye, Scott.
Goodbye,
everyone. Have a good... Can I get one of these out that's like folksy and... Have a good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world.
Spider-Man.
The sound you hear is Scott doing what is it? The web slinging bit? Anyway, the sound you hear is Scott
getting kidnapped.
Scott becoming a beach.
Scott becoming a beach.
Yes. You got to be careful with the pronunciation there.
I do? Okay, never mind. We'll just end it there. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.